I have got a headache. I am annoyed, and it's probably not the greatest idea for me to be recording this video when that's the case, but you know what? We're gonna power on through it, and we're gonna record this anyways, because I want to. What's up, everybody? Demon back. Welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing another Godzilla vs. Kong news and updates. This one, we're going to be talking about the lose-lose scenario that is Godzilla vs. Kong. Alright, chapter times in the description below. Skip to whichever story you want. Starting out, we have some art coming to us from Dope Pope. Dope Pope did his ZBrush renders of the upcoming Titan Camazotz that we will talk a little bit more about in the next news video. But he did his render of Camazotz, the new Titan that will appear in the King Kong Godzilla vs. Kong tie-in comic. This will be the Titan that Kong goes up against. Dope Pope has long since been rumored to have connections to the MonsterVerse. It's been widely suspected that he has some sort of inside information. I don't know if that relates to him being able to produce more accurate Camazotz art than other creators or not. I don't know. I'm just telling you. That's just the rumor. Personally, I think he's drawing this based off the image that we officially have released of Camazotz, and that's it. But, you know, I felt like I'd cover the other side of things just because I know there might be some comments about it if I don't. But yeah, some really cool art here. Love to see that all colored up. Spiral Studios is going to be releasing their Deluxe King Ghidorah. This will run you $1,750. It's a big boy. It's like 3 feet tall. It's huge. So if you don't remember, Spiral Studios is the studios that created the massive Ghidorah figure. This new Deluxe Ghidorah comes with a nice Fenway base with light-up explosions. The Ghidorah himself is slightly more detailed than the original. It is considered to be the most accurate Ghidorah 2019 figure or model to ever exist. And the next glow on the Deluxe version, the next glow, they light up yellow just like in the film, so it's pretty awesome. This is such a cool figure or model or whatever you want to call it. If it didn't cost as much as it does, I would definitely get it. We have some pictures of it in comparison to the X Plus Gigantic Series Godzilla 2019, which is a figure I unboxed and reviewed on this channel, but this Ghidorah towers over it, as he should. That is size accurate. I actually think Godzilla might be a little large, but that Ghidorah towers over it. Man, it's just insane how big this thing is. We also have a picture spiral released of it next to a human reference, and you can see it's pretty much like half the size of this girl, so it's definitely large. It looks amazing though. I really love it. All right, let's get to the news. Let's talk about it because we got to talk about it. Disney and Pixar's Soul, which is a movie I couldn't even begin to tell you what it's about. It's some movie, some animated film. It's coming out on November 20th now. It got delayed from, I believe, a July or June release date, and it has been pushed to November 20th. Again, I have no idea anything about this film. I could not begin to tell you what it's about. It kind of looks like Inside Out, kind of has that vibe based on the poster, and I guess they even mention it on the poster that it's from the studio that brought you Inside Out, and it gives me similar vibes. I'd imagine that it's basically Inside Out, but for this dude's soul. I don't know. Now, people are freaking out, man. They're freaking out because of this decision. And I keep saying it. We just need to be patient. We just need to wait, see what's going to happen. Again, for the 10 billionth time, we are living in an unprecedented situation. No one knows what the future of cinema looks like. Not even the studios. No one has any idea what's going on. That's the current situation. That's what we're living with right now. So yes, these release dates are subject to change. They are going to be pushed around all over the place, and they are absolutely going to start filling up the end of the year like crazy because that's what the studios have to do. They have contracts that need to be fulfilled. There's so many politics that play into them trying to keep their films within 2020. Yeah, it makes sense that they're going to keep doing this. I don't know. It's just people are freaking out, and it's kind of annoying. Soul has been pushed back to the exact same day Godzilla vs. Kong is being released. That is an issue. I do acknowledge this. I'm not going to be like 100% tainted with optimism here, lying to you guys, saying that this is a good situation. It's not. This is still a damaging situation. Having Soul, a Disney Pixar movie, guaranteed to do well at the box office because it's a Disney Pixar movie, having that pushed back to the same day as Godzilla vs. Kong is going to hurt Godzilla vs. Kong. Guaranteed. The extent to which it hurts Godzilla vs. Kong, I don't know. I'm still hopeful that it will be able to hold its own. I think Godzilla vs. Kong will be able to hold its own against Disney Pixar's Soul. And we'll talk about why in a little bit, but I do think that this is still an okay situation. There is some slight, what do people call it? I don't know. There's some expression to say when there's some slight good news to come out of this as well. Raya and the Last Dragon, Raya, I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying Raya and the Last Dragon, I know I say it quick, which was gonna originally come out the week after Godzilla vs. Kong, November 25th, has now been delayed to March 12, 2021. So that movie is out of the picture for now. I mean, it's not in competition with Godzilla vs. Kong, which is good news for us for a few reasons. This is another Disney movie. It's another Disney animated movie. If there was too many Disney movies coming out, Godzilla vs. Kong's not going to survive. Disney just seems to soak up all the dollars, and I don't think that'd be any exception. It's good that this movie got pushed back, so now at least we're not going up against two different animated movies back to back, you know? We're just going up against the one still. The situation hasn't changed all that much. We're going from one Disney movie to another Disney movie, and there's some differences with both. This was pointed out on Twitter, but I'll reiterate here. Raya and the Last Dragon is a movie that's specifically targeting Chinese audiences. Chinese audiences are where we are looking to make our money for Godzilla vs. Kong. That's where the MonsterVerse historically has done the best. So that's what we are hoping for, is Godzilla vs. Kong to do very well in China. A movie targeting Chinese audiences released by Disney would certainly do well in China. That's the exact reason we didn't want Mulan to come out right around Godzilla vs. Kong as well, because that movie was also going to be a big Chinese potential crowd pleaser, even though, you know, on this channel I have my doubts about that. But that movie was supposed to be a big Chinese contender, and that might have seriously damaged Godzilla vs. Kong's box office impact over there. The downside to this is that Pixar's Soul is definitely a more domestic targeted film. This movie is going to go heavy after American pockets. I think it will definitely take those dollars from the family market. I think that that movie is going to be the one family's pick the Thanksgiving weekend. That's just my prediction, is that families are going to gravitate towards Pixar's Soul rather than Godzilla vs. Kong, which is a huge bummer. But I don't know, it's not the end of the world here. I've seen a lot of people saying that they specifically targeted Godzilla vs. Kong. That's not the case. Disney's not specifically targeting Godzilla vs. Kong. They couldn't care less about Godzilla vs. Kong. I don't think Disney thinks Godzilla vs. Kong is competition. I don't think they see it that way. And they might be right to, because they're not necessarily targeting the same markets. And also, it's Disney, you know, they're gonna do fine regardless. They couldn't put the movie anywhere else. They wanted to push it back this year, so they put it in November so that they could have their second release date. Basically, what Disney's been doing is pushing each release date back by one. So this one was taking the spot of Raya and the Last Dragon, which is why Pixar's Soul has been moved to November rather than anywhere else in the year. As for pushing it up to November 20th rather than the 25th, that is a very simple logistical reason. There's more competition on the 25th already. The Happiest Season, King Richard, and No Time to Die are all slated to come out November 25th. November 20th only had Godzilla vs. Kong. That was the only movie coming out November 20th, and so Disney wanted to seize that opportunity. Now, you could say that they should have moved it up to November 13th, because then it would be only going up against Clifford the Big Red Dog and Deep Water, and I don't anticipate Clifford to come out on that date. I think that movie's going to get delayed, but we'll just have to wait and see. I guess I don't know enough about that. I'm just kind of speaking based on what I would assume. They didn't do that for a few reasons. Number one, that would mean that Disney's fighting Disney. November 6th is Black Widow. November 13th being Pixar's Soul means Disney's fighting itself. And also, Clifford the Big Red Dog, if it does stick to that November 13th release date, is a family movie. Now you're having a family movie versus a family movie. Godzilla vs. Kong is an all audiences movie, so it has a wider scope than Clifford the Big Red Dog. You see what I'm saying when I say there's a lot of politics that play into this, and people need to take a step back and look at the full situation? I've seen a lot of people freaking out talking about that they need to move Godzilla vs. Kong's release date. They can't move it to September. September is a packed month. The only date in September that would be kind of viable for them to put it on is September 11th. That's a bad date. I would not want to put any movie on that date, me personally, but Warner Brothers has already seized that opportunity, and Warner Brothers can't fight Warner Brothers. The Conjuring 3 is slated to come out September 11th. Warner Brothers and Legendary can't have two movies of the same studio releasing on that date. Now neither movie's going to make the money that they want them to. Again, there's a lot of politics at play into this. As for October, you're onto something with October, I suppose. It'd be difficult though. Venom 2 comes out October. That's going to make some money, and you don't want to go up the week after that, and there's already two releases on October 9th, which is the week after Venom 2, so you don't want to go up against two different releases. You could put it on October 16th. I think it could do well on October 16th. Now it's only going up against a limited release and Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills targeting a very different market than Godzilla vs. Kong is targeting. But again, Halloween Kills is a massive franchise film. Halloween 2018 made a lot of money. I don't think Godzilla vs. Kong wants to go up against that kind of thing. I just wouldn't think that Godzilla vs. Kong would want to come out on the date of a franchise movie. I think that they're okay coming out the weekend after or before, but definitely not the same weekend as. At least that's the way I would see it. And then October 23rd is loaded. There's like 5 different movies coming out that day, so that one is one that we want to avoid. There's nowhere else to move it in November. Godzilla vs. Kong, if it's going to be in November, has to stick to its date, otherwise it's going to get killed by Black Widow, or it's going to be going directly up against No Time to Die. Die, King Richard, and The Happiest Season, so they have to stick to their date. They could move it to December, but there is also some December releases that it will be fighting against. Free Guy is expected to make a lot of money. Then Coming to America 2, Dune, and West Side Story are all coming out the same day. I don't think Godzilla vs. Kong wants to fight West Side Story. I don't want them to fight West Side Story. That is a movie I think is going to make a lot of money. Not only is it a remake of what many people consider to be one of the most classic films, but it's also done by Steven Spielberg, so you definitely don't want to come up against that. The Croods 2 comes out the week after that. I don't know how much money that's expected to make, but it's coming out with Top Gun Maverick. I think Godzilla vs. Kong and Top Gun Maverick kind of target the same market, so that wouldn't do very well. Could come out the week after Top Gun Maverick, but there's already 2 main releases and 2 limited releases on that day, which doesn't bode well for Godzilla vs. Kong. They could push it all the way back to December 30th and have it release alongside Escape Room 2, but that's a Wednesday release. I don't know why that movie's coming out on a Wednesday. That just seems odd. I don't know. I wouldn't push it onto a Wednesday. That seems like a very weird decision, just to try and force it into 2020. I'm not liking it. Stick to your date. That's the only date that works. Stick to it. Do you see what I'm saying, guys? I hope that me running through all the end of the year releases as I've just done has been enough for at least some people to go, oh, I get it. Now I understand why we have to not do that. That's just what I'm hoping. Maybe it's wishful thinking that people will come around and see it my way, that we need to stick to this date, otherwise we're screwed. If you guys are so set in your beliefs, sway me, convince me, because I don't see it. I don't see this being the death of Godzilla vs. Kong. It's just an animated movie. We were already going up against one of those. Yes, it was gonna be real nice to have a full week to ourselves, but competition is 100% unavoidable at this point. We can't keep running from it. These release dates are going to change. We could push the movie back a full year and be like, all right, November 2021, and then a whole bunch more movies are gonna come out November 2021 that we don't even know about yet. Guaranteed. Again, there's a lot of politics that play into this. None of us are qualified to be making these decisions for the studio or yelling at the studio for their decision to stick to the release date or change it if they so decide to change it. I'm just saying from my perspective, they picked the best date that they could. They have one of the best dates in the rest of the year lined up for this movie. I don't see this movie doing as well as it's gonna do anywhere else in the year. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. I think if Godzilla vs. Kong is gonna come out in 2020, the release date it has is actually its best bet. That's just personally how I see it. And again, like I said, I'm not qualified to be making these decisions. If the studio decides otherwise, they probably have a lot more insight than I do. I think we should trust them. And that's really the thing. I think we need to learn to trust the studios. Godzilla King of the Monsters underperformed for a number of reasons, yes, and the studios responded accordingly to that. They hired new people in charge of marketing for the film. We'll see how the marketing for the movie does. And they have changed the release date accordingly. So I don't know. I personally think that the studios know what they're doing. I'd also like to record this clip here at the end. I didn't record this in the initial video, so I wanted to get this in, that the reason it's a lose-lose situation is because all the movies are going to be eating into each other's box office. Yes, we know that. There's nowhere else to run because every movie is being shifted around constantly. So you have no idea what's going to happen. But also, because you have so many fans right now upset with the movie that it hasn't delayed due to this Disney news, that it has not been delayed as of me recording due to the Disney news. These same fans, however, will turn right around if the movie's delayed and they will freak out and be like, what? Another delay? We have to wait again? How do we have to wait again? Like they're so entitled to the movie. There's no winning. There's nothing to do because everyone is going to be upset no matter what. And I think they have the best choice for 2020 at the moment. See what they do. And if they have to delay it to 2021, don't cry about it like I know you're gonna. And that may sound mean or whatever, but it's absolutely gonna happen. So that's my 2 cents on it. Whatever. As for the movies going up against competition in general, a lot of people just think it's doomed. Regardless, if it goes up against competition, then that's the end of the world. I will remind you that the other MonsterVerse films have also gone up against competition. Competition wasn't the only thing that killed Godzilla King of the Monsters at the box office. It didn't even get killed at the box office. Godzilla King of the Monsters for the millionth time underperformed, but did not fail. The reason it underperformed had a lot more to do with advertising and competition combined, more so than just competition, because the other MonsterVerse movies did well despite competition. Godzilla 2014 didn't have a whole bunch, but it had The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which came out a couple weeks before. Neighbors came out that same month. Neighbors was a movie that made a lot of money. X-Men Days of Future Past came out the week after Godzilla, so that movie made a lot of money, and those two were in competition. Then Maleficent came out the same month, a couple weeks after Godzilla vs. Kong. That was another movie that made a lot of money. I know A Million Ways to Die in the West was a movie that was heavily marketed, but I don't think it did well. But that was a movie that was heavily marketed at the time. So Godzilla 2014 didn't have a ton to go up against, but it had enough. As for Kong Skull Island had a lot more to go up against, and it did very well considering. It fought Logan head on. Logan was a massive blockbuster. Logan made a lot of money. Although again, Logan targets a different demographic, which is where I think Godzilla vs. Kong is going to do okay in some regards, is that not all the movies coming out around it target the same demographic. Kong did kind of open on a weekend all on its own. There wasn't really anything it was going up against directly, so that was nice. That's one reason Kong did pretty well. Following Kong, the week after, was the live-action Beauty and the Beast movie, which made a whole bunch of money. That was like $1 billion movie, if I'm not mistaken. Made a whole bunch of money. Was in direct competition with Kong Skull Island. Back in the day, say that was the movie that we had our eyes targeted on. That was the one that we were looking at the most. The Belko Experiment was another movie that did pretty well for the horror community, came out that same week. Live action Power Rangers movie. I don't know why I said live action. I suppose most Power Rangers is live action, but the actual American big budget movie Power Rangers came out 2 weeks after Kong, as did Life and Chips. Those were 3 movies I'm not convinced did well at the box office, but they were all heavily marketed and advertised. So going into it, it was going to be difficult to say. The Boss Baby, Ghost in the Shell also opened in March. Those were movies that made enough money. I know Boss Baby made a whole bunch of money. Those were also big contenders to be blockbuster hits as well. Although Ghost in the Shell kind of didn't live up to expectations, it was still another movie that was competing against Kong. And Kong did very well. The point that I'm trying to make here with this video is that we shouldn't run away just because there's competition. We've survived this before. And there's so many politics that play into this. It kind of annoys me to see people throwing as big of fits as they have been. Not to say everybody who's upset has been throwing a fit. There are people that are genuinely concerned and have good reason to be concerned. Gormuru Island pointed out a really good argument that I had never thought of. And when they pointed it out, I went, oh God, yeah, I had never thought of that. That argument being No Time to Die, which comes out the week after Godzilla vs. Kong, has scenes shot in IMAX. Godzilla vs. Kong is a movie that was going to have an IMAX release. Theaters don't really play multiple IMAX movies at once. They basically pick one to play. That means they're going to have Godzilla vs. Kong in IMAX for 1 week, and then they're going to move right on to No Time to Die. That's kind of the way it works, and so that means Godzilla vs. Kong is not going to have the run it deserves in IMAX, or the run it could use, because I know the MonsterVerse movies make a decent amount of money from IMAX theaters, which is disappointing, you know, the fact that that's going to eat into it. So that is a good argument, and like I said, there's not everybody who's crying. There are some people who are rationally upset about this, but there's so many people who are irrationally upset about it, saying things that they have no idea what they're talking about. Oh, we need to delay the movie to whatever. There's so much politics that play into it. Again, I'm still maintaining that the movie could move to 2021 and that it would probably be okay. I don't know where in 2021 it could move. I didn't look into it to see what the release dates look like, but I think it could probably do well in 2021. As for people who think that will drive up the cost of the movie an exponential amount because they have to relicense Godzilla and whatever other characters may appear in the movie, that's a potential. But again, I know Toho is willing to play ball, and so if Toho is willing to play ball, we're probably okay, but we just don't have the full scope or the full picture. If they need to keep the film in 2020, they need to keep the film in 2020, and they'll do what they can. So let them try. Have some faith. With the fear mongering, all you're doing is making the situation worse, and you're basically dooming all of us. Finally, no, the movie can't come out on streaming. It will lose hundreds of millions of dollars. That will be the death of the MonsterVerse, I feel. Again, I could be proven wrong if it comes out on streaming, but based on the top of my head and from what I know, that will be the death of the MonsterVerse if they put it on streaming, and I don't want that to happen. I don't know. That's my thoughts on the whole situation. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do so in a rational manner without yelling, and then we'll be good to go. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.